How about some beauty shots with a new bike build? Always exciting to get the new bike. I am very curious to see how it rides. I'm not gonna ride it until I get to Peru. It has been way too rainy here to even do anything. So I'm playing quite the dangerous game. So I hope it all turns out for the best. Thanks for being here. Let's go!
This is my new Ibis Ripmo V2S in black and bronze, aka Enduro cell. This is my fourth Ibis Ripmo, and with every single upgrade, I feel like I've gotten better and better and better on the bike. I remember taking the V1 to Japan. I remember the V2 arrived during the pandemic when I first met my wife. My third Ripmo was the V2 in Bug Zapper Blue. Took that on the Portal Trail, one of the best videos of all time on my channel. And this bike, the first taste of dirt that it's gonna get is going to be in Peru very soon. I am sad to say this might be my last Ibis ever. Ibis has been a fantastic paid sponsor over the past few years, and I emphasize paid sponsor because I randomly get free stuff from time to time, but I never call that a sponsorship. Free stuff doesn't put gas in the tank, it doesn't pay for my rent. Paid sponsorships actually keep this channel up and running. Ibis had to do some cost cutting, and I totally understand it, and the door is always open for us to work together again in the future. If you've had a positive experience on an Ibis bike because of me, I would love for you to take a second out of your day and email askchuck@ibiscycles.com and just let them know how you feel. All right, let's get into the details on my build of the Ibis Ripmo V2S. The S stands for swing arm. The main upgrade to the swing arm that I'm happy about is Ibis moving their bikes over to the universal derailleur hanger. No more having 5 different derailleur hangers for 5 different bikes. Hopefully, someday in the future, there is one derailleur hanger to rule them all, the SRAM UDH. The V2S also has a bit wider chain line. It's up to 55 millimeters. Head over to bkripmo.com if you actually want to see all the head tube angles and the seat tube angles and all the nitty-gritty details. I don't like to get into that stuff. But one of the details I would like to talk about on the new swing arm is this awesome hard rubber protection. Every single Ripmo I've ever had has been completely chewed up in this area right here. It's most likely from the chain getting sucked up or even falling off and then causing all kinds of wear and tear in that area. They got rid of this like chrome protection piece that used to be there, so now there's some hard rubber protection a little bit further back. The top of the bottom swing arm on the chain side also has some hard rubber to protect from the chain slap. I get all kinds of chain slap on all my bikes. I've tried all kinds of different stuff. It's kind of always there, so I'm hoping maybe on this one it'll be a little less. They also added some more of that really nice hard rubber protection on the underside of the bike from the down tube underneath the bottom bracket. My bike is kind of an early version, so I didn't actually get that, but all the new production models will have it. And of course, the biggest change between the Ripmo V2 and the V2S has been the complete overhaul of the Ibis logo and how they mark their bikes. I really love the new logo. I just think it looks cool. I think it's modern. I didn't really always like wearing an Ibis sweatshirt that had the logo that I just never really connected with or liked that much. This one, totally different. I think it's just so cool. So the biggest upgrade I made from the last bike to this bike is a nice new fresh set of SpokeX custom carbon wheels. SpokeX did an awesome job helping me color match the spokes to the frame. I think it came out really nice and subtle, and just my favorite part of this new bike is the bronze spokes. I'm doing some Industry 9 hubs for the first time on any of my bikes, I think, so it's gonna be a little more loud in the rear. We'll see how long that lasts with the videos. I'm also running the Maxxis Assegai tire up front and in the rear. Same tire, runs great, I love it. And of course, I've got the Trail 1 component valve stems on here. I've got a lot of different Trail 1 components. I'll talk about them in a little bit. If the biggest upgrade was my wheels, the biggest downgrade I did on this bike is swapping out the Cane Creek E-Wings, the $1,000 titanium cranks. I took them off and I put on just normal SRAM GX cranks. The thought behind the E-Wings is that they could take a hellacious beating, and they have taken a hellacious beating over almost 3 years of torture testing. They look fine, they work fine. Well, they don't work great. I feel like they come loose every once in a while, and the way the bottom bracket meets up with the cranks, it's just kind of a weird thing compared to SRAM cranks that dial in, screw in, the bottom bracket fits this and everything just works, versus, oops, I forgot to tighten up my cranks and now my cranks are loose again for the 5th time. I'm positive I will destroy the SRAM GX cranks pretty quickly and just put the E-Wings back on, I guess. I just took the E-Wings to multiple different bike shops. They would put on a spacer, they would take off a spacer. So nobody was really quite sure how to get it dialed in. And of course, the black on black looks much better than the silver cranks. I actually tore the sticker off of the RockShox Lyric fork that I have because the silver sticker was just way too loud. And this is the same suspension setup, fork, and shock that I've been running on my other Ripmo for the past few months, the RockShox model year 23 stuff. I have gone back to an air shock after running a coil for a very long time. The reason I've run a coil shock all these years is because I didn't want to have to think about it. I didn't want to have to think, oh, is my shock kind of going soft? Is it different? Is it me? Is it this? Let me get out the shock pump. Duh! But now I'm back in that world to see what I've been missing. I'm gonna try it for a little while, see how it goes. The more simple I can make my life, the better. That's why I pretty much only ride the Ripmo. I don't have a Ripley. I don't take the Oso everywhere with me because I don't want to have to be juggling constantly. Do I ride this bike? Do I ride this bike? I ride this bike and it makes life easier. I can take this bike on 95% of trails and have a great time on them and not have to worry about wanting more suspension, wanting less suspension. This bike is nice and light, but it descends really well. I'm also still running the RockShox Reverb Axis wireless dropper post, which has been very, very primo. So nice just to pop it out, clean it, put it back in, or swap it from bike to bike. I decided to get a fresh derailleur for this bike, the SRAM Eagle Axis GX derailleur. I actually bought the upgrade kit on Worldwide Cyclery, and the prices for these things are coming down. It used to be $1,200 or $1,000 when everything first came out, and you know, the higher level stuff is still at that price. But the lower level stuff is still really nice. It's always just a little more heavy, but the prices are coming down. There are good deals out there. Love the wireless shifting. You just got to pay attention to the batteries in the shifter and in the remote. My remote batteries lasted really, really long. I want to say almost 2 years, which is just crazy, but they did, and I keep spares on me at all times just in case they go out. Little coin batteries aren't that heavy to carry in a pack, and an extra bigger battery isn't that heavy to carry. I'm always going to end up missing a few details on this bike when I do a video like this, but I've got the full build sheet on my website, all the parts. I got almost everything from worldwidecyclery.com. I've got affiliate links, so if you happen to buy a GX Eagle wireless shifter upgrade kit through their website, I get a little kickback, which is always nice. One interesting upgrade I did to my bike this time around was adding an Apple AirTag case underneath the bottle cage. I know you're not supposed to tell people your security secrets, but if it saves one person from having their bike stolen by some junkie in Santa Cruz, California inside of a rented U-Haul van, it's worth it. If I would have had AirTags on my bikes 6 years ago when I accidentally left my garage door open and my bikes walked off into the night, I think I would have got my bikes back. Okay, let's move on to some nicer things now. And what's nicer than a top-of-the-line cockpit from Trail One Components? As you know, Trail One is the company I co-founded. We take $1 from every sale of every item and donate it back to the trails we love. We've donated thousands of dollars now back to trail builders. It is an awesome, awesome thing. I've got a really cool custom color bronze Rockville stem here to try to match up with the black and bronze theme of the bike. I did Crockett carbon handlebars with the 35mm rise instead of the normal 15. I'm very curious to see how the higher rise will feel. And of course, a fresh set of Hell's Gate grips, my favorite grips of all time. And just tonight, I put on the black Trail One handlebar decals to stealth it out a little bit, but not too much. If you want to pick up a couple Trail One components for your bike, I've got a coupon code for you right here, right now, 25% off your entire order. Head on over to trailone.bike. It's only good for the first 100 people. That's like $33 off a Rockville stem. Really good. And the final big change that I made to this bike is I went with the Shimano XT4 piston brakes, switching back over to Shimano brakes. I've always preferred them. They have that instant engagement, full-on bite, versus the SRAM brakes always feel a little squishy, which means more modulation, which means maybe a more pro touch. I need the instant engagement. I just prefer it. All right, it's time to pack this thing up in my bike bag and fly it to South America for its first ride. Do me a favor, go ride something new, and maybe I'll see you on the trail.